We all remember that traumatic moment in our childhoods when that little lion's dad just wouldn't wake up. A lot of people assumed he was dead, including me when I was a kid. I still have nightmares about it sometimes.
The past can hurt.
But today, we at Free Movie School have some good news for all you Disney fans out there. If you take a closer look, an abundance of evidence suggests that Simba's dad, Mufasa, is actually alive and well at the end of The Lion King. Stick with me. First, let's start with the obvious. Consider this. The Lion King is a movie marketed for children and families. In fact, the MPAA has given The Lion King a G rating, which means it is suitable for all audiences. Would the animators over at Disneyland really be so cruel as to lure little kids into a charming tale of family, friendship, and royalty, only to traumatize them by introducing the concept of death? In US culture, it is a custom that kids shouldn't know about what death is until at least the age 10, which is when the brain is developed enough to handle the idea that everybody, including parents, will one day die. Up until then, parents typically make up lies about death to protect their children.
When we die, our bodies become the grass.
So it's unlikely that Disney would dare to break the bad news about mortality in a G-rated movie without causing a worldwide parent uproar. With this in mind, it makes a lot more sense that in this so-called death scene, Simba's dad was just asleep, or possibly pretending to be dead, so that his obnoxious son would leave him alone. Earlier in the movie, he complains that he wants to get some sleep, when Simba rudely awakens him. Now, he is finally fed up with his son's childish antics and fakes his death so he can finally get some sleep. Therefore, this completes Mufasa's character arc using the classic technique of filmmaking, the setup and the payoff. That sounds cruel, I know. What kind of father would do that to their child? Well, apparently Mufasa, and there's some evidence to support it. In fact, there are some pretty telling clues that Mufasa didn't really care about his son that much. Earlier in the film, a monkey takes Simba away and dangles him above a cliff. When all the animals celebrate, you might expect Mufasa to scold them or even to rush in and save his son, but he just smiles. Clearly, the love between the two characters is not mutual, so Mufasa easily could have decided to fake his own death without being concerned about hurting Simba's feelings too much. For another thing, let's look at what motive Scar would even have to murder Mufasa in the first place. Spoiler alert, there is none.
Sorry to bust your bubble.
Mufasa is Scar's brother after all, and who would want to kill their brother? Not me. Sometimes he annoys me, but it's simply not worth risking a life in prison. Plus, the importance of family, or Ohana for short, is a theme that comes up over and over again in Disney movies, so why would Disney portray a brother killing another brother in their movie? It's totally off-brand. If there's one thing Disney has taught me over the years, it's that Ohana means family, and family means no one should be left behind or forgotten, or murdered at the hands of their brother. Still not convinced? Let's dive into the science to determine whether it was even possible for Mufasa to have died. We can answer this question through the field of animal studies. Scientists have long known about a naturally occurring phenomenon known as the food chain, which God uses to organize animals into a hierarchy of predator and prey. According to researchers, the strong are at the top of the food chain and the weak are at the bottom of the food chain, just like with people. For example, in high school I was at the top of the food chain because I was cool and played football. And guess who's at the top of the food chain in the animal kingdom? You guessed it. Lions. Being at the top of the food chain means you can't be killed by any other animal. So, what about oxen, you ask? One stereotype about oxen is that they're strong. There may be some truth to this, sure, but lions are predators, meaning they eat meat. Another name for this is carnivores. According to Wikipedia, carnivores are an organism that derives its energy and nutrient requirements from a diet consisting mainly or exclusively of animal tissue, whether through predation or scavenging. When you translate these words, they're basically just saying that lions eat animals.
Carnivores. Ugh.
And get this, Wikipedia states that a lion's diet consists of not just any animals, but mammals. Hop over to the Wikipedia page for oxen and you'll find, that's right, they're mammals, aka lion food. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? That's right, Mufasa could have totally taken out an ox and eaten it for dinner. So could a stampede of oxen really kill a lion? The science says no. You can't get run over by your own food. It just doesn't work like that. That would be like if I got run over by a stampede of buttered noodles, which really wouldn't hurt that bad. It would take a whole lot of noodles before I would even get so much as a bruise, and even then I could probably fight them off. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Would an animated kids movie about talking animals really care about scientific accuracy? Well, maybe not, because they do make a major science error in the movie by making the animals talk, and they don't seem to mind that this is pretty unrealistic.
Who?
Scar.
Who's got a scar?
No, it's his uncle.
The monkey's his uncle?
No!
If they made that mistake, couldn't they have mixed up their food chain as well? Maybe so, but fear not. There's one final piece of evidence suggesting that Mufasa is still alive, and it's the strongest one yet. The biggest clue that Mufasa didn't die is that he shows up again later in the movie, alive and well. After a period of absence where he presumably had to heal his wounds, Mufasa makes a triumphant return to fight his brother, Scar, and win back the throne.
The king has returned.
So as dark as things may have seemed earlier, we know that he actually got to the hospital in time to be saved. In fact, he recovered so well that he's strong enough to engage in battle again, and ironically, he even throws Scar off a cliff, just like Scar did to him earlier in the movie. By the end of the story, he takes back his rightful place as the King of Pride Rock, and lives happily ever after. But something's missing. What about his son? You didn't forget about the smaller lion from the beginning, did you? I didn't either, which brings us to the real mystery here. Where did Simba go? Well, that question is up for debate. For the first half of the movie, the smaller lion seems to be a main character, but in the latter half, it seems as though the filmmakers forgot about him in their haste to resurrect his dad from the dead.
It's like you're back from the dead.
If you were paying close attention, you may have noticed that a few of the animals mistakenly called Mufasa by his son's name, Simba.
Have you guys seen Simba?
Simba.
Maybe they forgot his name in the time he was gone, or maybe they're just confused. But we know for a fact that this is Mufasa. That's because it was clearly established earlier in the movie that Simba is the small lion and Mufasa is the big lion. Last we saw Simba, he was hanging out in the jungle with his new friends, a warthog named Pumbaa and a skinny monkey named Timon. It can be inferred that he lived happily ever after, singing his worries away and forgetting all about his dad and his kingdom. So much for that whole musical number at the beginning about his plot to become king, right?
This stinks.
It's a bit of a loose end that leaves us wondering. Will he ever return to become the rightful king and be united with Mufasa? Or will he take revenge on his father for playing a terrible prank on him earlier? And who is this mysterious lady lion who shows up in the jungle? What does she want with our hero, and how do they know each other? Is Mufasa seriously cheating on Simba's mom in this scene?
Yuck!
Or are they just friends? And what about the question everyone's been asking? Will Zazu ever find true love? Disney makes the ending ambiguous, which has left fans wondering for decades about the future of their beloved lion cub. So, will the upcoming live-action sequel directed by Jon Favreau finally answer this question about Simba's whereabouts? Only time will tell. In the meantime, rest easy, knowing that Mufasa lives on as the king of the lions. What do you think will happen to Simba and Mufasa next? Leave your predictions in the comments boxes below, and when the movie comes out, we'll see who was right. See you next time here at Free Movie School, and as always, thanks for your loyalty.